says that it's imminent. Joining us now, David Stockman. He's the former OMB Director under President Reagan, and also the author of Trumped, A Nation on the Brink of Ruin and How to Bring It Back. Great to have you with us again, David. Nice to see you as always.
Yes, very happy to be on.
So lay it out for the viewers. You've had a cautious tone every time that we've spoken to you, and you're not the only one out there that takes that approach to the market. But why do you think a recession is imminent now?
Well, they haven't abolished the business cycle. We're in month 88 of this expansion, as tepid as it's been. Growth over the last 4 quarters has averaged 1.3%. That's barely stall speed. We have inventories building up. If you look at concurrent indicators of the economy, such as freight shipments and so forth, they're weak and negative. Capital spending is down double-digit, exports are down, and so forth. So it's only a matter of time. My more important point is I think there will be no rescue this time out of Washington. That's the big news. I hear people constantly talking about, well, we're going to have a big fiscal stimulus or infrastructure program, or there's going to be a handoff from the Fed that everybody is beginning to realize is out of dry powder to the fiscal authorities. That isn't going to happen because this election is turning into a disaster. Hillary is won, but it's going to be the nastiest, deep in the gutter election we've ever had. Congress in Washington will be totally dysfunctional when the new president is sworn in. I think the Congress will be paralyzed. It will be nothing like what we saw in September and October 2008. So therefore, when the stock market stumbles and the economy begins to actually register negative growth, which I think is coming, if not next quarter, certainly in the first half of next year, there's going to be nothing below, and the market is going to go through a massive contraction, in my view, once people realize that it's a new ball game and there's no Washington to bail out and to reflate the system like has happened 3 times now since 1990.
David, let me ask you this. Obviously, there are a lot of people out there who would agree with you that this election is certainly one for the history books in terms of the sentiment out there and the circus-like atmosphere. But who do you think is going to win?
Well, I think the election's over. Hillary, there's no doubt about that. But Hillary didn't really win. Trump was assassinated by the national media. I mean, the lynch mob feeding frenzy show trial that happened over the weekend was truly frightening. I've seen nothing like it in a lifetime of 40 years involved in politics, one way or another. Obviously, what was on that tape wasn't edifying, but then Trump wasn't running for national Sunday school teacher. He was running against the Washington establishment. The Washington establishment will go to no ends, to any length, to take opposition down, and that's what they did. But unfortunately, they shot to kill and only wounded. Now you have an enraged candidate who follows none of the rules, who is going to take this campaign to a scorched earth intensity like we've never seen before. And by the time we get to November 8th, the public is going to be so disgusted, in my view, that they won't vote, or they'll vote for a protest third-party candidate. Hillary Clinton will win, but with no mandate. And I think it's going to be so contentious in the House, because Ryan is moved to protect his House majority, that it's very likely that investigations will begin immediately. And with any kind of excuse, they'll try to impeach Hillary Clinton barely after she gets in office. That's how bad it's going to be. And so when you have these, PMs come on here, portfolio managers saying...
You think they would try to impeach a newly elected president?
Yeah, I think they will if they can find any excuse, and they're going to be digging deep, hard, and long and ferociously based on
Let me ask you this. If the candidate is of quality to be impeached after just being elected, why would the nation elect her?
Well, because, the media, as I say, has taken down Trump. I mean, he's he's totally spoiled goods. I just don't see how it would be possible for him to close the gap now, even though previously I certainly agree.
Any chance, David, we could see a Brexit outcome here? We could see people who are afraid to admit to the pollsters that they're going to vote for Donald Trump. They're not necessarily broadcasting it. Maybe people who don't vote in every election, but they're going to hit the polls this time, and quietly and privately when they're in the booth, as Ted Cruz said, although I'm taking the other side of this, maybe they're going to vote with their conscience in the other way.
Yeah, well, I think there's clearly been a Brexit factor out there, and the more the media prosecutes this case, there's going to be more of these tapes and every other kind of assault on Trump coming along, the more you're going to stimulate a backlash from, what I call flyover America, all the people out there who are sick of this. But I think he's been wounded so badly that I don't know how he pulls it out just as a matter of, electoral reality. So we're going to have the worst of all worlds, awful election and a completely dysfunctional government. And what I was starting to say
But is it going to be dysfunctional? Because a lot of people have made the argument that even if Hillary Clinton wins, it's not such a bad problem for policy or also the economy if we have a Congress that's very fully Republican, and that the nation will probably opt to sort of polarize and to balance out the two branches there. Do you think that that's a possibility? And really, at the end of the day, we end up with status quo?
That's a theoretical proposition that may have been relevant 10 years ago or 20, but you have to put it in the context of the vicious intensity that is, enveloping our political process in this campaign. You're not going to have some kind of kumbaya moment after this election. It's going to go straight into political warfare as soon as the election is over. So the idea that the public's going to split the ticket, so to speak, I think is very naive. And if you're counting on that as a backstop, to bail out the market, and these guys are saying, well, there'll be a big infrastructure program and that'll stimulate CapEx and that will, revive animal spirits in the C-suite. I don't buy any of that. I think it's going to be a very nasty time in the year ahead.
All right, quick question from Anthony Grisanti.
Yeah, hey, David, what do you think is the biggest problem? Is it the Fed that, won't or can't be able to act, as like you said, or is it going to be a Congress that's going to be gridlocked and won't be able to get anything done?
Good question. I think the answer is the Fed's out of dry powder. It's marooned on the zero bound. It has nothing left. And so therefore, people are taking comfort, and I think it's false comfort, in the idea that it's time to hand off the stimulus ball to Congress and to the White House for a big infrastructure or fiscal stimulus program. That's what I'm talking about. It can happen. Nothing will pass. The House will become a killing field for anything that the Clinton administration tries to do once this election is over.
All right, David, always great to have you on the program and nice to see you. David Stockman, author of Trump, A Nation on the Brink of Ruin and How to Bring It Back, and also the former OMB Director under President Reagan.